What makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to the Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagilia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. Today's guest is someone who brings heart, hustle, and a whole lot of care to everything she does. Donna Raucher is the CEO of Global Promotional Sourcing, where she's been helping grow the company since 2001 and officially stepped into the CEO role in 2016. She's known for her people-first leadership, smart business strategies, and deep commitment to giving back. Good morning, Donna. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to have this conversation with you and to talk about you, but also the company itself and the team behind you. And also, don't forget.
Delilah, yes, Delilah, the key to everything around here. Well, good morning, Nagilia. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate your time and your willingness to talk to me.
Can you tell us how Global Promotional Sourcing got started and what inspired you to be part of it from the beginning?
Okay, so let's dial it back. I was involved from the beginning as the spouse of the actual founder. My husband founded the company with another partner in 2001. As many wives in business, we are always involved in the business, even though we're not involved in the business.
Yes.
So it was their responsibility for the day-to-day running of the business. Much like I do now, it was my responsibility to take care of the people of the business. Now, when they started, there was 3.5 employees. My husband, Steve, his partner, Brad, our number one employee, Pat, who is still with us 24 years later, as well as another family member, my father-in-law, was their accounting lead. So it was a family business from the very start. We were all aware and involved and certainly living the day-to-day ups and downs of the business back in 2001. Now, we opened in March of 2001, and guess what happened in September of 2001?
Oh, yes.
So that was the first hurdle, the first of many, the latest being the last few weeks. I'm sure you know from the headlines.
Yes.
So we got through that. And then 2009 happened and the housing bubble, and our sales went in half, and we got through that thanks to a wonderful team. And then flash forward again to 2015, no, 19. 19 was the last round of big tariffs. So fall of 2019, tariffs, 2020, pandemic, and now tariffs 2.0. So 24 years in business, it's been quite the ride. So that's a very short and brief history of GPS and all of our roller coaster rides over the past 24 years. We have 2 employees that have been with us almost the whole time. Pat, our vendor relations lead, has been with us 24 years. Lori has been with us 22 years. We have 12-year employees, 10-year, and then going down from there. But we've doubled our team since 2020.
Oh, this is amazing. You become the CEO. What was the decision behind it for you to become the CEO of the company?
My husband wanted to sell, and I'm much better doing the behind the scenes, taking care of the people, taking care of the details, taking care of the building. Very simple. I still take care of all the licensing and all the compliance, and there is considerable amount in our business. We work with a lot of Native American-owned casinos, which requires a lot of licensing and applications and paperwork, which thankfully I'm very, very good at filling out forms. I also take care of the people on a high level. I take care of our facilities. I'm obviously involved in all the day-to-day operations, but because I have a fabulous team, I don't have to focus on everything. I can focus on some key areas that I'm good at.
So, and another one, instead of your husband selling the company, you pretty much just step up and become the CEO to take care of everything, not to sell it out.
He and his partner parted company in 2013, and that's when I came on board as CEO to be the behind the scenes person. He got to be the face in many respects, because he was in sales and remains in sales and is our
Yeah.
sales lead along with our president, Greg. But I got to do all the nitty gritty details behind the work that also have to be done to support the sale.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the company. What is it about? What do you guys do?
What we sell the incentive gifts that are the casinos. If you've ever been to a casino, and there's many in Florida and certainly nationwide now, thanks to the Native American gaming, we sell the gifts that those casinos in turn give to their high level players as incentives. So come play at our casino, we'll reward you with a gift. Sometimes it's once a month, sometimes it's once a week, depending on the casino and the location where they are. So we're the ones that put together those programs for those casinos. And we're nationwide. We may have started in Vegas on the strip, as you can probably guess, but
Yes.
with Native American gaming expanding around 2006 or 8 is when it really started getting momentum. We're now nationwide. We cover Mississippi to Minnesota and from Connecticut to California and everything in between. So
Do you guys only work
global.
with the
We are
casinos
the
globally?
national global of global promotional sourcing. Yes.
But you guys are like the person behind it that you work with the casinos to create them.
Yes. Yes. We have 7 salespeople now. They work with uh, usually in a regional area. There's some exceptions because when a casino marketing person moves from one property to another, that relationship also moves. So
Mm,
while it's mostly regional, we have some exceptions just because there's strong relationships there that they want to maintain.
I like that. And then can you kind of guide us on when you said that you're creating that for them? Is it when you said the gifts? How does that work exactly when you're creating that?
When we put it together, so the casinos, as in most businesses, have a budget they want to maintain. So they'll give us a budget, could be anywhere from $15 to $25 for maybe a mid-level tier or mid-tier, could be anywhere up to $250, $500 for a VIP level. They present us with a budget, and if there's certain categories that they want to pursue, housewares is extremely popular. Bedding is very popular. Luggage, bags, small appliances is certainly a huge category for us. And then we source from our distributors and our direct relationships and get back to them with ideas for their particular clientele. So if it's an older population, it probably won't be something super high tech, right? It might be
Hmm.
more houseware related, or cookware is also a huge category for us. Air fryers, crock pots. I can't even tell you how many air fryers and crock pots we've sold over the years because that pretty much meets every guideline, right? Everybody uses an air fryer, and if they're not using an air fryer, they're using a crock pot. And even
So
if people have 2 already, they'll get a third one because we've had
why
casinos
not?
order them every single year, and people keep coming back for them. So
I like that idea. So you guys not just creating what the plan for them, but you also getting the products and everything as really and send it to
correct.
them as well to give to the client,
Correct.
to
We're
the
sourcing the
clients.
product, we're presenting the program, and it's usually a themed program. So, for example, if we're doing a January theme, for example, it might be a scale or a food, a food scale or a human scale. It might be health related gear like, headphones for working out. It might be a yoga mat. It might be, um, what else have we done? New towel set or bathrobes or something healthware or self-care related. So frequently we do themes, we do Cinco de Mayo themes, we do Christmas, Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving is serving platters and perhaps more cutlery or some specialized servingware, right? So we do a
Yes.
lot of themed presentations as well as, I won't say random ones, but perhaps the more or less related ones. What our customers want, we can source. We can source
Yes.
almost anywhere, at least up until recently. There's been,
Yes.
if you've read the newspapers, there's been some challenges recently, but the manufacturers and distributors we work with are also very smart, and they've been able to pivot to other countries that don't have the high tariffs that China does right now. So We have a wonderful network of manufacturers and distributors that we can lean on who are in this with us together. We've had multiple meetings. We just had a big meeting with one of our big distributors yesterday, and we pivot and we move on, as we did in
Mhm.
all previous iterations of challenges that we faced over the last 24 years.
If you guys went through 2001 and then 2020, I think everything else is possible.
You know what? I was on every webinar known to man, every newscast known to man of what was going on with COVID, how to keep my employees safe, how to keep the company running. And I was concerned because I heard a lot of chatter about, oh, people are working from home, they're not going to want to come back into the office, right?
Yes.
We had just the opposite. My team was so excited to be back in the office and back working collaboratively and working together, in proximity of each other as opposed to just in silos by themselves. I had no problems whatsoever with that. It was unfounded.
But Donna, of course they want to come back because you treat them well. Why would they want to stay home?
Listen, I've read all the research. There's a lot of advantages to working from home, but it's certainly not as collaborative as working in an office together.
Nah, it's me saying people's thoughts. You mean like when we are together, don't get me wrong, online it feel lonely. But when you are in person, you are together, it feels a lot different. It feels
It's
like
less
you're not
lonely.
alone.
It's
Yeah,
just
you're
less
not alone.
lonely, pure and simple. I mean, your spouse might be there and you're spending 24/7 with your spouse, the way Steve and I did. We're like, okay, we can go back to the office now. It's really fine. I love you and I'll miss you and bye-bye. We don't have to
Yeah,
share the same space for 24 hours a day.
we can do that when I get home. That's okay. I can deal with that. But that's one thing you love a lot, your team,
I
and
love
you
my
talk a
team.
lot about them.
I
And can
brag
you
on
tell
my
us
team to
why?
I brag on my team to anyone who'll listen. No question. I
I'm
have the best
listening.
team. I have the best team in the business. Our competitors, and we are certainly among the top three in our category, if not the top two at this point. They have 3 times as many people as we do in some cases. And we do a lot with a smaller team because we have an amazing team who can do a lot.
And I see that. I see that way when you have a lot of people and things doesn't get done. And
Mhm.
I went through it myself a few years ago where, okay, I need more team members. I need to grow. In reality, it was the biggest mistake in my life. I didn't need all these people. I just needed the right people to get the job done the proper way.
Well, there's a sweet spot with hiring. You want to hire enough people to service everybody well, but you don't want to grow so large that you can't service each other well. So we never
I
want
agree
to
with
grow
that.
past a level that we can provide excellent customer service because ultimately that's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter if we're the biggest. If we give lousy customer service, we're not going to be around for very long.
Absolutely not. And in a company, there's two type of people that you need. One of them is your team, and the next one is your customers.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong, you cannot make everyone happy in this world. It's impossible to do. But when you have a happy team that making your customers happy, the company can move a little bit faster.
I'll add one other category. You need good vendors.
Mm,
You need good vendor partners.
yes,
And the important thing is because in any business, things go wrong. But we never go back to a customer with this is what's wrong, this is what happened, and these are 3 solutions. How do you want us to proceed? We never go back unless we have at least 1 to 2 solutions on how to fix it.
that's
So
it.
currently it's we can't get this item from China. Here's an item that's very similar that we can get domestically tomorrow. What do you think?
Yes,
Right?
I like that.
Or do you want to wait and push that program off to maybe December or January and hope the tariffs decrease by then?
Yes,
Or do you want to have a similar item, right? That's domestically made, that's in stock, that I can get tomorrow, and we go with that. And a lot of them are saying, let's go with the sure thing and let's go with the domestic option.
Mr. Jim.
And now it's a question of how many of those manufacturers have stock right now and have US based inventory. That's our challenge right now, and that's what we're figuring out.
In your case, if you didn't have that, it would have become a big problem, right? If you don't have great vendors because
It probably
you
would have
need
put us
them.
out of business. Yeah, if we only
Yes.
dealt with a few vendors who only had properties in China, we'd probably be out of business. But because we have a great vendor network who are willing to partner with us to get through this, as they have in 2009 and 14 and 19 and 2020, without good vendor partners, you're dead in the water as a business.
Yes, you're right. But I didn't know that some of them that's in China actually also have a location here in the US.
Some some have both. Some are only in the U.S., but that's pretty rare. There's some that have facilities in Malaysia or Cambodia or Vietnam or India that can switch production to one of their other facilities because they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket either.
Didn't think of that. That's actually very smart. But you also within the company you also have how do I say I want what word do I want to use to make it I didn't want to use the word animal. I wanted to use something else because I feel like they're not just animals to us. They are more than that, you know? And you allow your staff, including yourself, to bring your baby to work. When I say baby, I'm not talking about like a baby, but I'm talking about your second baby. You know what I
My
mean?
well
To work,
my
yes.
Yeah, she is my oldest of three. I have three dogs, all black, all have come to the office at one time or another, but she's the regular attendee because this is her office and we're just visitors here.
But may I ask why do you allow that at the office? Because that's not something you see very often at work for a company to say, hey, I'm going to allow you to come with your dog to work. You've seen it where you can bring your kid to work for one day. I've seen that, but I haven't seen, hey, bring your dog to work. That's okay.
I think there are people that might say that dogs at work are far less disruptive than children at work in many cases. I'm not sure if I would have
True.
brought my children. I mean, my son works here now with his wife. I'm not sure I would have brought him every day to work when he was a young one. She just lays down and goes to sleep and really doesn't require much other than a walk and some treats every so often. But the reason well, the true reason that we became dog friendly is because I got Delilah. Let's be clear. So when I got Delilah, we became a dog friendly office. And then it sort of escalated from there. In 2018, we hired an employee that had a little white Bichon mix, and her name Miley. Miley was the second dog to really spend a lot of time in the office, and it's just kind of gone from there. We've realized that it really does lend a calming influence and a sense
Yeah.
of fun in the office. So every so often the dogs will, jump on each other and play, or, if somebody gets restless, we're throwing the ball down the hallway. It really is a form of pet therapy, and there's been a lot of
Yeah.
research about how offices are much calmer and in some cases far more creative when they have dogs in the office to kind of break up the stress, and certainly work can be stressful. So
Yes.
my employees will come in and say, I need to pet a dog. Can I just come in and pet your dog? Yeah, come on in. Take a few minutes, relax, play with the dog, and then go back and do your thing. And that's what they do.
And that makes a lot of sense because I know that some people use animals for therapy.
Yes.
And like, for example, I know horses. People use that a lot. Horses to help connect with the animal to create some sort of a therapy way.
Hmm.
So, like, yeah, having an animal around really can kind of like easy the body, kind of like relieve it emotionally, make you feel like in a better
Or
look,
they
place in general.
they're using therapy dogs. If you've been to a conference lately, a lot of times there'll be dogs at the conference in a little pet area where people can come off the trade show floor and pet some dogs for a little while. They use animals when there's been a crisis, when we had the shooting here a few years ago, which was horrific
Oh,
in
yes. Mhm.
2017. A team of therapy dogs was dispatched to the victim center where literally people who were just completely despondent could kind of hang on to that dog and cry with the dog and feel better and feel a little bit more secure. Um, we've had pet therapy dogs that go to hospitals here and other businesses here. I work with a rescue. So some of our dogs show up at, we have the Make-A-Wish Foundation is doing a walk and including dogs this year. So our
Ooh,
organization has been, you're allowed to walk your dog while you're doing your walk for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And we'll be going
I love that idea.
with dogs. So dogs are showing up everywhere, sometimes cats, mostly dogs. Somehow people are more allergic to cats than dogs, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I think cats,
pets
go
are
ahead.
everywhere, and they really are a way to help people relieve some stress.
Yeah, dogs are perfect because dog is more like a
Cuddly.
cuddles type that want to stay, right? Cat's a little bit more like, I'm gonna come late to you for a few
Mm,
seconds, but still wait for me after that.
yes.
Meow.
Dogs have owners, cats have staff. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. But you, like you said earlier, you have new team members. It seems like you are hiring the next generation.
Yes.
So, what do you look for in people when building your team?
The most important thing I look for, and I say this in interviews, I want someone who's not afraid to get their hands dirty, who aren't going to say to me, "Ugh, that's not my job." No.
That's my job.
If I can go in the bathroom and frankly restock the toilet paper or the paper towels, if, the president and the founder can be out in the warehouse, sorting through samples or helping with a drop ship order that needs to go out today, which has happened a few times. We've had late deliveries. The delivery has to go back and be repackaged to go back out the same day. Well, guess what? We put out an all call. Everybody come in your sweats and sneakers. I'm going to buy pizza. We're going to put on some music. We're going to get this job done. And guess what? They all do. My proudest moment as a CEO happened about 2 years ago, and it was the perfect storm. We had a brand new customer, we had a brand new vendor, and we had a brand new salesperson. And we had an order that just went wrong at every single turn, right up until delivery. So the delivery was delayed and delayed and delayed for various reasons until the day of the event. So we knew we knew we were tracking the truck, we were in touch with the driver, we knew what was going to happen. So again, we put out an all call to the team. We need a group of people to fly to Washington to unbox this because they were nested. So there were 4 suitcases nested inside each other. You have to unnest them and get them back on the pallet again to be distributed. Well, my CFO volunteered. Other salespeople volunteered. My chief brand officer volunteered. My warehouse manager says, obviously, I'm going. The founder went. All these people that had really no stake in the order other than it was for our company put their hands
Yeah.
up and said, I'll go. Let's get this done. Let's get this handled. And seeing your team come together like that under a very stressful circumstance, because in the casino business, if you mess up one order, it might be your last. So in order to get this done and get this handled for our brand new customer who we had no equity with a brand new salesperson who didn't quite know how to handle it other than tracking at every point, we got it done. They literally flew up at 10 o'clock at night, slept for a couple hours. The first truck arrived at 2 in the morning. The second one arrived at 4 in the morning. And for whatever reason, the casino decided to start distribution at 7 in the morning. So we were ready to go.
It's
It is my
beautiful.
most,
It's
other than
beautiful.
these past couple weeks, it is my most proud moment as a CEO to see your team just literally drop everything for a teammate and say, we're not going to let her fail. Let's get this done.
Let's get it done together.
You can't ask for more than that.
No, absolutely not. And then that's the reason why you said that you have a great team.
I
You
have,
know
and
it,
I don't
and
have a great team. I have a fantastic team.
fantastic team.
I
I love it.
have a
It's
fantastic team.
amazing. It's like not just you're not asking them to just leave the office and go to the street and get something done. You're asking them to fly
Yep.
out, go to a different state to get this done.
Right. And
And
they
they
knew
did it.
what was happening. They knew that this was going to be a super tight deadline. Hands were up. They all volunteered. I stayed back here to monitor things from here in case we had to pivot again to something else.
Yes.
So I stayed behind with a few other people, my vendor relations person included, and just literally monitored the situation from here. We were in touch with the distributor, we were in touch with the trucker, we were in touch with the casino. We just made sure that everybody knew what was going on, and we all knew it was going to be a Hail Mary, right? Pretty hard to pull
Yeah,
off, but we did it.
you did it. You all did it together
We
as a
did it
team.
together.
Like you said earlier, it's like it's like a small family together. Always have each other back no matter what.
Well, we are a family business, right? My husband and I,
Yeah.
and now my son and daughter-in-law are coming into the business. My father-in-law, rest in peace. He passed away a couple years ago. He retired in 2020, but he was with us for 20 years. It is very much a family business, but we've also created our extended family with our staff. So what else could you ask for? You enjoy working with the people you work with. There's not anything better than that,
Not much. No,
because
not at all.
things go sideways daily sometimes.
In business, you never know what's gonna happen. You never know.
Never know. Never know.
But Dana, you have done a lot of community work, for example, with Living Grace Homes and
Hmm.
Kiss My Pounds
Kiss my
Homes,
paws. Yes.
which I'm expecting anyway. Why is giving back so important to you?
It's just been ingrained in me for whatever reason. Um, my mom is very active in our church, and that was sort of her salvation, is getting involved in the church when my father passed away in 1996. It's just sort of been ingrained in me that I live a very blessed life, and I want to help. In the case of Living Grace, it's young women with children who are pregnant. I know how scary that is, and I had a partner, I had a
Yes.
support system, but being able to kind of mentor those girls and help where I needed. Hey, listen, some days all I do is hold babies, and what's wrong with that, right? I might feed a baby or change a baby or just hold the baby while mom does her laundry or cleans her room. Or I might
Hmm.
just be an ear saying, hey, I'm applying for this job. How should I answer this question? Or can you help me with an application? Might be as simple as that. And with, Kiss My Paws, I got involved in August. It hasn't been that long. I got involved last August, and it's been just very rewarding. I did two back-to-back events this weekend, so um, it's time consuming, but it's certainly satisfying when you see these beautiful fur babies find their forever home.
Yeah, and I feel like somebody else is happy to be there too with you.
Yeah, I don't bring my dogs. They would just get jealous if I was holding another dog. There was a little Labrador puppy at one of the events this weekend, and oh my gosh, it was so fun to just cuddle a puppy again. But I'm happy to give her back. I don't need another one. I have three. I'm good. But it's
So what
rewarding.
advice?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it is, and I think I love what you are doing with young woman because I have my first son. Well, I wasn't young, but still,
sure.
it didn't come with a manual.
No.
When I get out of the hospital, and then seriously, I did. I look at the doctor and I said, "So, do you guys have some sort of something you're gonna give for me?" Like, he's looking at me funny, like, "What? What do you want? Like a manual? Something? I don't know."
There's a lot of books on raising children, right? And there's a lot of books on how to train your dog. You can't hire a baby trainer, right? Or a mom trainer the way you can a dog trainer, right? My dog is having my new rescue dog is having some struggles adjusting to our home and not
Yes.
and feeling safe, right? And feeling secure. I can hire a trainer to help me with that. You really can't do that when you bring home a baby. It's like, here you go, you're on your own, right? They require you to get a
Yeah.
license to get a dog. Anybody can have a baby, right?
People
Um,
need a license for that.
and there's so many resources, but no one's sitting there right next to you saying, this is what you should do, or even more so, you're doing fine, because the baby
Yeah.
doesn't know what you're supposed to be doing, only that they feel safe and secure and loved, and that's all that matters. But there is no
Yes.
manual, and I wish there
No,
had
no,
been.
no, that's not. But I think the other thing also, a lot of parents, a lot of moms, they don't have is, "Mom, you got this." You know how many times I wish someone said that to me? Because when I have my son, it's like I'm in Nevada, my entire family is in Florida, and I felt like I was alone. Yes, I had the choice, I could go back home to Florida, but I felt like I needed to do this. I needed to do this myself. I can do that. But in reality, sometimes I just wanted someone to say, hey, you got this. You can do this. And
And that is important. And when I see, one of the girls that I work with, or even a mom whose toddler's having a meltdown in the supermarket aisle, I'm like, Mom, it's okay. No one's judging you. You've got this. It's okay. And pass that on now that you're a mom. When you see somebody else struggling, saying, it's okay. You got
it's
this.
okay.
You
Got
know what
this.
to do, and it's okay. Which is kind of what happens in here, right? Nobody gave me a manual on how to help run a company, right? Or
No.
any blueprints on how to get through tariffs or COVID. You had to figure it out. But it's
Yes.
important that every so often says, you know what, you're doing a good job, and it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. You need to hear
Okay.
that, no matter
Yes, you do.
who
But you know what, Donna? You are doing a great job. And at this point, I don't even think I want to say you got this. You already got it.
There's always something new that gets thrown at you, Nagilia. There's always something
Always,
new.
always.
No one ever saw the pandemic coming, right? They knew that there was this flu in China, and then all of a sudden the world shuts down. Some of our casinos were closed for 2 years. Some were closed
Yes.
for 8 weeks or 6 months, and we had to figure out what to do. So we had to pivot. We went from selling incentive gifts to, in some cases, masks and hand sanitizers
So,
and gloves, right? You had to figure out how the casinos could reopen, knowing that their clientele felt safe, right? If you had invested in acrylic back in 2019 or 2020, you'd made a fortune because they put up acrylic barriers between all the slot machines here, and that's how they opened.
yes, that's how they open. Yeah.
Yeah,
But Donna, what advice would you give to women who want to lead a business or start their own?
network, talk to other people who are doing it. I'm a member of a Lean In Circle with our Global Gaming Women group, which is a group of women who are primarily in gaming, although some have done, they're vendors to the gaming like we are. Um,
Yes.
I think it's important that you have people, mentors, right? People who have been in your position, who have moved up, or people who are currently in your position that you can bounce ideas off of. I think that's invaluable in any station in business, whether you're just starting out or whether you're middle of your career or getting towards the end of your career like I am. It's important that you have a network of people that you can bounce ideas off of and rely on. Perhaps they know someone who can help you
Yeah.
with a particular problem. I think that's the most important thing. I read a lot. I watch a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of business and self-help podcasts because sometimes it's how do you deal with a difficult person? Well, that's not just a business issue. Sometimes that's a
Yeah.
personal issue as well, right? Um, just gather as much information as you can and then sort through it to see what works for you because there's no one size fits all solution to any problem. It's always what's comfortable for you. You know, during this 2009, we had the difficult choice of do we let people go or do we reduce hours? Well, we put it to our team. Which would you prefer? They all said, we don't want anyone to go. So we're going to cut down our hours
Hours.
and then we're going to pull together until we get through this. And that's what we did.
I love this.
Again, we're an awesome company with an awesome team
Team, yes.
because they didn't
You
have
know,
to. They could have said, no, 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 we need our money, right? We'll just let the last
yeah,
person hired go. But they didn't.
did it.
We
Because
may
they
have to
know
make,
that.
depending on how long the tariff situation lasts, we may have to make some tough decisions there too. But
Too,
it's going
yeah.
to be equitable for as many people as possible. And as we said in our meeting last weekend, we have no intention at this time to let anybody go. We're just going to move on, business as usual. Everybody's going to buckle down, and you might have a little more work because there's different situations right now. We're repricing merchandise, we're finding new vendors, so that's more work for some people. But we're going to get through it because we know we
Together.
can, and we're going to do it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have your motto. You said, to say you have no choice is a failure of imagination.
Hmm.
What does that mean to you?
It means that there is always another solution. And if you can only see the black and white in front of you, there's no imagination there. You have to be able to be creative and find alternate solutions, some of which may not make sense to any other person or our competitors or even to our customers sometimes.
Right.
But if you don't have an imagination and try to look for creative solutions to problems when you're presented with them, you're not going to last in business very long.
That I can vouch. That's for sure. And how can anyone reach out to you or GPS?
We are GPS and myself are both on LinkedIn, Global Promotional Sourcing, and Donna Raucher. It's pretty straightforward. I can leave my email if any of your producers want anybody to reach out to me. That's perfectly fine with me. Our company is very active on social media, which is where you'll see a lot of the dogs. Um, dogs are involved in a lot of our media. We also did a calendar, which we're very proud of. So we did one page of,
Oh,
but all the dogs, like that's Delilah. We featured our dogs in a calendar, which has been a huge, huge hit with our customers. So we've
yeah.
leaned in hard with the dog friendly because it's really resonated with people. I think they want to do business with people who like dogs.
I think a lot of the population have dogs.
I think
A lot of people,
I
yes.
think so.
So, and a lot of them, that's their babies because there's some people out there that's not able to have children, and dogs become that baby. And some of them, the children only grown up and on their own, like they no longer need mommy and daddy anymore, unless they want something, of course. So now they have the dog. So I think that it's important for people, and
Sure.
if it's important, then we should treat it that way as well, even in
Absolutely.
business.
Absolutely. Now we take our business seriously. We don't always take ourselves all that seriously, which is why we have so much of the dogs in our marketing and advertising. But we take our work very seriously. But you can't take yourself too seriously in this life.
Life is short. You have to enjoy it as well, even when it's at work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I thank you so much, Donna, for giving me the chance to have this conversation with you and learn more about GPS and also the amazing team that you have. And it's great to see that because I think that every company need a great team. You need an amazing people to work with, to back you up, to be there, even in the tough moments of life.
A leader's always only as good as the army behind them. And I have a very strong army behind me.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.